There we go. All right, Laura, we're in business now. Now I see it. Wonderful. All
Yay!
right.
There we
Yeah,
go.
it's right. All right. So good to have you here. Let me just change my view so we're side by side here. There we go. All right, Laura. Well,
Sure.
I feel like we've been working together for about a year now. It's been a long time.
It has. It's almost
Yeah,
been a full year. It's
it's
been
incredible,
I
huh?
think not.
It's funny. I just got off the call with somebody who did a video testimony for me just a few minutes ago, and we just talked for a little bit. And I was telling him like, listen, it's fucking impossible if you keep doing what you've been taught. It's impossible to go backwards, and it's impossible not to move forwards. And I said to her, I said, listen, it's there's no way you will not be in a best relationship you've ever had. No way you'll not be there within a year. Impossible. And I remember like when you and I first connected, you were kind of dealing with the aftermath of the past, and if you remember, you and I had several conversations about like, well, should I do this? Should I talk? I'm like, no, like, don't do that. Focus on you. I go, I know where this is going. Ultimately, if you stay the course, you do your workout, you do the repetitions, and here you are. You're in an incredible place now.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
got news.
Yeah, you probably would never have believed me a year ago. I'm
It,
assuming.
Intellectually, I believed you. From experience,
Mhm.
I needed to feel that over time to actually believe it. I got it up here. I'm like, I know it, but in some ways, I didn't. I guess I didn't know that from experience until I actually did
Yep.
it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that comes full circle to the very basics of anyone who does this program. Just to say them like you might have ideas, but you can't speak how you don't feel. You can't make decisions in line with how you don't feel. If you feel like crap, you make crap decisions. If you feel like crap, you speak bad. And if you're limited by how you feel, well, that's why your relationships don't go in the directions you want to go, and that's why they keep floundering over and over again. That's what perpetuates that vicious cycle. But as you know, if you come back, and what's so interesting about you, Laura, you
Mm.
came into this with a very good understanding of neuroplasticity. I remember the very first time we spoke, you'd written a paper on it. This is what you had
Mhm.
that background, but it all came down to, do you have that practical application to make it real? And that's the whole difference.
Yes, I would agree.
So tell me here, like, again, I'm just gonna ask general questions. You talk however you want, and this will make a great video
I
here.
love it.
So if you go back to our first conversation where, again, you have this background in brain science, neuroplasticity, and then we're having this conversation where I'm like, I'll help you make it real so you can actually live that way. You know, how would what was your impression the first time you and I spoke? Like what was it about our conversation with your background that made you say, you know what, I have a feeling there's some dials I'm not turning here that can make this actually work? What was about the conversation that made you decide to move forward?
Hmm. Well, there were a few things. One was for me, a big piece of that was I knew that there was a way. I had inched forward in my life, moving forward, doing things like meditation, doing the work in outdoor education, doing mentoring work. But what I noticed is that in the area of, especially of relationships, I kept falling back into these patterns, or even if I overcame them, I kept on attracting the same people. As I got to the place of leverage where I needed to change something because I wanted a different life. And when you spoke with me and you said, like, I think it was the way you spoke with me, and you caught me saying certain things or doing certain things. And you said, Laura, this, if you're serious about this is what you need to do. And I'm going to share with you just follow the formula, do this, and you can get to where you want to go. And as I listened to you, everything you were speaking informationally made sense. It clicked to me, and having the way you were describing that, bringing the change in physiology with the words, which weren't just repeating words, is actually like replacing old
Yep.
programming really spoke to me. And your conviction in the way you hold yourself and the way you worked with me, and you were very direct with me. You
Mhm.
were very kind. You were also very no nonsense, and I like that.
Yeah,
And I knew,
that's a good
and
way
I
of
knew,
putting it.
like, when you
Yeah.
testimonials, I'm like, well, that's something that I really wanted to develop more of myself. It's something that works really well for me,
Mhm.
and I just trusted the process. And I knew, in hearing you say that if I follow this and I'm dedicated to it, I'll get results. And I noticed after the first week I did.
Mhm.
And it was nice to have something consistent, easy, attainable. I really like physical aspect of it, every in the music part. There was a lot of elements in your program, in addition to the content and having something I could do every day,
Mhm.
and learn. And I love learning and growth. That's one of my values.
Mhm.
This program really appealed to me, and I started to see results right away. It gave me an anchor to return to if I started to falter. Sorry about that. I blinked out.
That's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gave me an anchor to I think that was a benefit too, whether I did it in 6 weeks or 6 months or however long. I always have something to return to every day.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's has made all the difference. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's funny about all these like interesting like conversations, with different people depending upon what their model of the world was, and you were so unique because you'd had that
You
background.
froze.
You had. Oh, sorry. I was saying you were so unique in the fact that you came into the call with that background. You understood, but so you. I mean, for you to not do
Like,
this was real.
why?
What's that?
It's
For
like,
you?
why is this still happening if I
Yeah.
know this? It's like, what is the key that's missing? Ah,
Yeah, yeah. Little did you know it was 30
freaking
minutes.
frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
Mhm.
awesome. Let's see here. So now here we are. Fast forward. It's been a while, of course, because you did the program for a long period of time, which is fine. But so the
It's been great.
right. What's that?
It's been great. It's nice. It's been nice having a little extra time to do it every day.
Sure, of course. So my next question is, when
Hmm.
I told you in the beginning, and again, this is great for the people also, not just people that might consider doing this program, but also people in the course now, because it's nice to have. I mean, I put on I mean, I don't know if you saw hers, but I put on one of my favorite ones recently, Annie's. I mean, it was
Hmm.
such a great depiction of what you can expect. Because again, like everyone is, it's not easy. I tell people like this is not a magic trick. You're gonna have to do your work, and she just did such an incredible narration, just a very just very realistic narration of how it goes, and it's really awesome for even you who's graduating now to see it because it really reaffirms what you experience. Because at the end of the day, everyone likes to think their situation's so unique, but it's not. I have human muscles, you have human muscles, we all have human muscles. Okay, that might be true, that I might not have the same potentialities like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but my human muscles will grow and respond in accordance to the stimulus I give it. Just like my human brain. You have a human brain, I have a human brain. It's going to move and respond if you give it the right stimulus. Doesn't take away from the fact that, yes, some people have different potentialities. Okay, fair enough.
Mhm.
But we're all going to move. And what's really great is even if you see that video, it just reaffirms to you, it's like, of course, that's going to go in that direction. This all lines up with everything I know from a scientific standpoint that backs it up. And my experience, know that I've already lived it, it lines up with everyone else's as well. Again, some people move faster, some people move slower, but everyone moves. So here's my question for you. This will be interesting. With your science background, when I told you what you could expect and where this was going to go ultimately, did you think I was maybe a little crazy the first time we spoke? Like, were you like, you're like, all
No,
right, I know, this
no,
guy's talking. Did you almost think that I
no.
was almost like, did you almost think that I was almost like too confident about like, I don't know, like how's this guy doing this and no one, but what did
Nope.
you think of as far as what I told you was in on the table for you ultimately?
I believed you. I didn't think you were crazy at all. I saw you as a person who had gone through the personal experience. I think that this part of this your story that really was compelling to me was that at one point it relates to one of the incantations that the right opportunities will be there at the right time. And you had gone through, you shared about your experience as a dating coach, and you had applied. I think you had gone into this seminar, and you had this feeling about this place, but and things didn't quite click, and you went back like you were in jury duty and somehow ran into somebody who worked in this place, and it just linked up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Your
Wait,
your
remember
your
that?
your
Okay, okay.
stories your stories of experience really resonated with me because I know that to be true from my own experience with synchronicities and things lining up at the right time and be it was when I heard you speak, I can tell that it was true. It was true for you,
Hmm.
and it was true for you in your experience working with other people and hearing those testimonials. I didn't doubt it. I didn't doubt it. I think if anything, the doubt came from like, can I do it? Am
Mhm.
I capable of experiencing a life that's different than I've known before? I really wanted to believe it.
Mhm.
Like, can I have a relationship that feels different? Can I be a person and show up in a different way? That part was intellectualized, but I hadn't experienced that from experience. Maybe incrementally. I know I've changed over the course of my life, but that part to me I felt more doubtful about that. But I had full faith in you,
Okay.
and I had that I didn't think you were crazy, because I know from the work I've seen other friends do it with coaches. I've seen their inner work, that they had somehow gotten to the place that I want to be, and they done the work, and I just didn't know what kind of work I needed to do.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
And what you were speaking really resonated to me because it seemed like a good fit.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
People to come in from different reference points based on their background.
Hmm.
With your background, I thought it had to make
Yeah,
sense for you, but for some people,
it
like
did.
I'll speak to people that don't never even heard of like neuroplasticity before. I'm like,
Yeah.
for them, it's a little unique because everything they've been taught their whole life is completely contrary to that, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I thought it'd be interesting to hear from someone who has that background. So now, fast forward, Laura. I mean, would you? How would you say? How would you say? I don't even know. I want to ask this properly here. As far as where you're at now, did you even like how much further beyond are you as far as where you're at versus like I mean like yeah like that's kind of what I'm getting at here like
Yeah, I can't
like
wait to tell you.
are you did you even surprise yourself as far as where you're at this point?
Mm. Life is so different. For I have news. So this is a 360 for example, from last year, where I was at the point of leverage after being in a very emotionally abusive relationship, and being in a place of not knowing how to get out, how to change that, thinking it was my fault, all this stuff. And then worked on myself all summer. And then in the fall, like right before the fall, I reconnected with an old friend from when I knew in 2007. And we started to see each other, and we hit it off. And what's wonderful, sorry about that
It's
blinking
all right.
off. What's wonderful is I am engaged,
Wow,
married, and
congratulations,
he
congratulations.
proposed in November, and it's official. We told my parents yesterday and his parents, and it's been wonderful. He's like so loving, and we have amazing communication. He loves the coaching work that I do, and we learn and grow together. And we are just, I have the most loving, kind, thoughtful, communicative partner. And I'm very feminine. He's very masculine. He's like this anchor for me. Is really present. And we were at the Tulip Festival in the Skagit Valley yesterday, and I was noting tonight, actually, I was like, wow, when I went there, I was seeing families and people and partnerships, and I didn't have this sense of, I used to have this deep sense of longing for wanting that and not having it. And I'd go to these things on my own or with friends, and I'd feel like I didn't have it. I still had an okay time, but the sadness was so deep.
Mhm.
So I'm like, when is that going to happen for me? What do I need to do to have that? And I was there yesterday, and I was just having a great time, and I was so grateful, and I felt so present and so hopeful for what's ahead. There's work to be done in any relationship to maintain that with myself and with him every day. And right now, the big thing for me is actually changing careers and vocation, and that's a real
Yeah.
stuck point. But as far as I feel like this foundation of practice, and he supports me doing my practice every day. He's curious about it. Um, it really supports me to be in that healthy relationship with him and myself. It's a foundational part of that, and so my life is just like uh, beyond where I even thought was possible, and
Wow.
it's great.
Man.
And this training is a core foundational piece of that, because I can always I return to it all the time, every morning. If I'm having a tough time, like I'll go out and I'll come back with answers, or at least like that frustration, like, oh man, I go to frustration a lot. And knowing that, okay, this is a breakthrough. There's a
Mhm.
breakthrough on the other end of this. I'll come home, and I'll usually come to the next place of clarity to move forward. And if I ever get stuck, it's not for long. Usually it's, a few hours or a day or not even. It's those stuck moments are few and far between, and they've always been a launching off point. And really gives me an excellent toolbox for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've just been building upon this understanding, and I brought that into my relationship, and fortunately he supports that because now we have this common vernacular, and it's great.